Another day, another story. The Cold War was a period of political tension and military rivalry between the Western powers, led by the United States, and the Eastern powers, led by the Soviet Union, that lasted from the end of World War II in 1945 until the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. Although there was no direct military conflict between the two superpowers, the Cold War had a profound impact on global politics and shaped many of the events of the second half of the 20th century. The origins of the Cold War can be traced back to the end of World War II and the post-war settlement. The Allies, led by the United States, Britain, and the Soviet Union, had defeated Nazi Germany and were faced with the task of rebuilding Europe. However, tensions quickly emerged between the Western powers and the Soviet Union over the future of Germany, the nature of the post-war settlement, and the spread of communism. The United States and the Soviet Union had fundamentally different ideologies, with the United States promoting capitalism and democracy, while the Soviet Union advocated for socialism and communism. These differences led to a series of proxy wars and political conflicts around the world, as each side sought to advance its interests and ideology. One of the defining characteristics of the Cold War was the arms race, in which both sides engaged in a massive buildup of military forces and weapons. The United States and the Soviet Union both developed and tested nuclear weapons, which created a new and terrifying form of warfare. The arms race continued for decades, with each side striving to maintain an edge in military technology and capability. The Cold War also saw a number of major crises that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, in which the Soviet Union placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, was one of the most dangerous moments of the Cold War. The crisis was resolved through a combination of diplomacy and brinksmanship, but it underscored the potential for catastrophic consequences in the event of a nuclear war. The Cold War had a profound impact on global politics and the international system. It led to the formation of military alliances, such as NATO and the Warsaw Pact, and the development of new forms of diplomacy and international institutions, such as the United Nations. The United States emerged as the dominant superpower, while the Soviet Union struggled to maintain its influence and legitimacy. The Cold War also had significant cultural and social impacts. The United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a global propaganda war, with each side seeking to promote its ideology and way of life. This led to the development of new forms of popular culture, such as rock and roll music and Hollywood movies, that became global phenomena. The end of the Cold War came with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. The collapse was the result of a combination of factors, including economic stagnation, political corruption, and the pressures of the arms race. The end of the Cold War marked a major turning point in global politics, as the world shifted from a bipolar system to a more multipolar and interconnected one. In conclusion, the Cold War was a defining period in modern history, marked by political tension, military rivalry, and the threat of nuclear war. It shaped global politics and the international system for decades, and its legacy continues to be felt today. As we reflect on the Cold War, we must strive to learn from its successes and failures, and work towards a more peaceful and cooperative world. Thanks for watching.